Welcome to this explainer. Let's just jump right into the deep, dark, murky waters of the wild Amazon. Long before we mapped this endless canopy, a hidden kingdom already existed, a place where apex predators ruled supreme, completely through sheer evolutionary mastery. Today, we're going to uncover exactly how these incredible Amazon predators hunt their prey and dominate an environment that is as lush as it is absolutely unforgiving.
It's a pretty wild question, right? How do you hunt in a jungle where you literally cannot be seen? Underneath that dense Amazon canopy, the vegetation is basically impenetrable, and the rivers are just clouded with thick mineral mud. Surviving here isn't just about being the biggest or the fastest. No, it's a high-stakes game of tactical stealth and highly specialized weaponry.
Okay, let's dive right into how we're breaking this down today. First, we're looking at the masters of stealth and strike, then the power of the pack. Next up, bizarre biological weapons, and finally, we'll wrap up with the guardians of the ecosystem.
Let's kick things off with Section 1, Masters of Stealth and Strike.
A kingdom already existed where predators ruled without being seen. I love that quote from the source material. It perfectly captures the solitary giants of the Amazon. These creatures combine brute force with just masterful camouflage. And honestly, no animal embodies this quite like the black caiman. This is the largest predatory reptile in the Amazon basin. We're talking up to 5 meters in length, but it acts as an invisible sentinel. It just lies completely motionless beneath the dark waters, leaving only its eyes and nose visible, waiting patiently for that exact right split second to unleash a terrifying burst of speed.
Now, what makes the black caiman an absolute tank is its biological armor. They have these things called osteoderms. Basically, they're heavy, bony scales that act like built-in Kevlar. This renders the caiman virtually invulnerable to attacks in its own swampy territory. And when it finally strikes, it snaps up its prey with a holding power of several thousand newtons, dragging the catch down into the deep water in a matter of seconds. It's brutal.
But if we leave those deep lakes and venture into the flooded forests, we run into a predator that even the caiman has to watch its back around: the jaguar. The third largest cat in the world is a highly lethal nocturnal operative, and a huge reason for that is the tapetum lucidum. It's this specialized reflective layer in their eyes that multiplies whatever tiny bit of scarce light is available in the dense jungle. It essentially grants them this extraordinary, high-resolution night vision, letting them stalk prey in absolute silence.
Now, what's really interesting here is how completely different their tactical engagement is from traditional big cats. Think about lions or cheetahs. They typically go for the neck to asphyxiate and subdue their prey. The Amazon jaguar? It bypasses that entirely. Instead, it delivers direct, skull-crushing bites. Its jaw muscles are so insanely developed that it can pierce right through that hard, Kevlar-like osteoderm armor of a caiman in just a fraction of a second.
1,500. That is the jaguar's bite force in newtons. To put that into perspective, proportionally to its body weight, that figure actually surpasses the tiger. It makes the jaguar's bite the most powerful of all the big cats and pretty much the ultimate tactical weapon of the rainforest.
All right, moving on to Section 2, the power of the pack.
So what happens when you aren't the biggest predator in the river? You overcome that size disadvantage through highly organized cooperation. Meet the giant otter, very rightfully crowned the river wolf. Unlike those solitary hunters we just talked about, the river wolf operates like a highly synchronized military unit. They live in these tight-knit family groups of 4 to 8 members, and they literally surround schools of fish to create a totally impenetrable barrier in the water. Plus, their communication is next level. Researchers have actually recorded over 22 different sounds. From short barks to soft whistles, they use these signals to coordinate complex, multi-flank attacks in water where they essentially have zero visibility.
Now, I do have to debunk a massive Hollywood myth right here. Despite what basically every B-movie has taught us, piranhas actually do not hunt in organized, aggressive wolf packs. They do gather in those massive, terrifying-looking schools, sure, but it's primarily a defensive strategy. They group up to protect themselves from other predators, like caimans and river dolphins.
That being said, you absolutely still do not want to mess with a black piranha individually. 320 newtons, that is their measured bite force, and when you realize they are only about 15 to 33 centimeters long, that number is absolutely astonishing. Proportionally to their body size, those interlocking, saw-like triangular teeth deliver a bite that completely exceeds the power of predators that are many, many times their size.
Let's transition into Section 3, bizarre biological weapons. This is where evolutionary mastery gets incredibly specialized, resulting in hunting tactics that feel, frankly, almost like science fiction. Just think about these tactical extremes. First off, you have the pink river dolphin. It uses an advanced echolocation system, basically a biological radar, to hunt in pitch-black waters. Oh, and it has an unfused neck, giving it 90-degree lateral flexibility so it can weave right through tight submerged roots. Then, you have army ants. They operate as a single, massive organism with absolute iron discipline. I'm talking engineering living bridges out of their own bodies to cross obstacles, relentlessly devouring every single biological energy source in their path.
And then there's the undisputed queen of the still waters, the green anaconda. These things can reach up to 6 meters in length, but they don't chase you. Instead, they practice masterful biological immobility. Using the natural density of the water for buoyancy, an anaconda will leave just its eyes and nostrils above the surface. It just waits, relying on extremely high-precision thermal receptors to detect the body heat of approaching prey before launching a devastating ambush.
And once it strikes, it applies a terrifying 60 newtons per square centimeter. To visualize that, just imagine a heavy gym barbell resting on every single inch of your chest. That is the supreme holding pressure an anaconda exerts with each muscular ring during constriction. It doesn't even need venom. That sheer, inescapable pressure completely stops the victim's resistance, letting the anaconda neutralize incredibly massive targets.
But honestly, perhaps the most bizarre weapon of all belongs to the sovereign of the swamps, the electric eel. This fish is literally a living biological laboratory. It has these highly specialized electric organs that are constantly generating low-voltage discharges. Down in the murky, muddy waters where vision is completely useless, the eel uses this internal chemistry to essentially map its dark environment and navigate its territory safely.
And this brilliantly illustrates what happens when it actually detects a target. 800 volts. If it's threatened or if it's on the hunt, the eel releases a massive electrical pulse of up to 800 volts straight through the water. It's a dual-purpose, defensive and offensive tactical tool that instantly immobilizes a target, meaning the eel never even has to engage in physical combat. It's just game over.
Summarizing the sheer madness of the Amazon's arsenal, you quickly realize that success in this indomitable frontier rarely relies on just brute muscle. Whether it's the synchronized cooperation of the river wolf, the crushing constriction of the anaconda, or the pure energy projection of the electric eel, survival here demands highly evolved, fiercely specialized techniques.
Which brings us to our final section, Guardians of the Ecosystem.
So, why does this ruthless, non-stop arms race actually matter to you and me? Because these lethal tactics aren't just for survival. They are the gears keeping our planet alive. These apex predators act as the ultimate architects of balance, and their presence cascades through the entire environment. Step by step, they regulate prey populations to prevent overgrazing. Predators like piranhas act as the cleanup crew, recycling organic matter and keeping the underwater food chain impeccably clean. All of this maintains the overall health of the river, which in turn supports the massive trees. And those trees, they pump moisture into the air, creating the flying rivers that ensure global climate stability for all of us.
So, the crucial point is this. Without these hidden, ruthless predators, the biological balance of the Amazon simply collapses. They really are the immune system of the rainforest. The entire thermal regulation of our planet, the very lungs of the Earth, relies entirely on the uninterrupted survival of this complex, deeply interconnected food web.
Which leaves us with a pretty provocative, urgent reality to consider. Human activity is fragmenting this ancient habitat at an unprecedented rate. If these masters of stealth, these pack hunters and wielders of bizarre biological weapons are the true guardians of the Earth's lungs, what exactly happens to our global climate when their hidden kingdom finally disappears? It's a sobering question and one we all need to be thinking about. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and I really hope this provided you with a totally new perspective on the Amazon's fiercest inhabitants.